In this video, we're going to feature the Blum HF top from their Aventos lift-up systems. Now the HF top, like they have the HK top, the HL top, the HF top, that series of lift-up mechanisms is called the top because of how easy it is to install in the cabinet. So just put the lift mechanism inside the cabinet, slide it to the top, and then put your wood screws in. It's that simple to attach the lift mechanism into the cabinet. Now this one, the HF top, that has two doors on it. So it would seem as if it was going to be more complicated to install. It's not complicated at all. So as you watch this animation, you'll be able to see that the process is fairly simple. You have your cabinet and you make the doors that fit on that cabinet, and then it's just a matter of locating the screw holes for the mounting plate on the door, on the bottom door, and then for the hinge cup hole on the top door. Very simple process. And the mounting plates that come with it, they have little tabs on them. You slide them to the end. It's that simple. So let's take a look at the selections that are available now. If you look at this chart, you will see that there are 6 groupings available. And that really has to do with the size and the weight of the door that you have. So let's just take a look at the first group in this series, just to see how they work. The first group is the smallest mechanism set available. So if you have a door that ranges in size, or not the size of the door, but the height of the cabinet, let's say now. The height of the cabinet, if it's from 18 7/8 inches up to 24 inches high, then you can buy from this bundle, as long as the power factor is somewhere between 238 and 1,118. So that makes it sound complicated, right? It's not. The power factor is the cabinet height in inches times the combined weight of both doors and the piece of hardware that you're going to use for a handle. So you take that weight times the height, and when you multiply it, if it falls in that range, then you buy one of these lift mechanisms. Now those 3 lift mechanisms are identical with the exception of the color of the cover cap. So if the door is larger, if the power factor is higher, if the height of the cabinet is out of range, well then go to the next bundle. It's larger. So that's how it works. And pick one of those bundles, whichever color you like. So that's how it works. Let's get into the video. Our video animation is picturing the HF top. There's 2 doors, and it's for face frame or frameless cabinets. Our application in this video and for the bundles are for the wood screw mechanism. So in this clip, we're looking at all of the hardware components that you need to attach the doors that you build to your cabinet. Now let's take a look at the mechanism for wood screws. The lift mechanism attaches to the inside of the cabinet with wood screws. We use the cover plate as a guide, and we can align our lift mechanism with the side of the cabinet. Then we slide the lift mechanism up until it engages with the cover cap, and then slide backward until the yellow tab touches the front of the cabinet. We insert all 4 wood screws, and after the wood screws are all inserted, then we can remove that yellow alignment tab. Now we have to attach the telescopic arm to the lift mechanism, and this is really easy. The video that Blum has here really shows it, how easy it is to put the lever set attached to the lift mechanism on both sides. Now we attach the doors and the cabinet to the telescopic arms. Now the hinges and mounting plate locations are referred to in the specifications at the end of the video to show you where to locate those mounting plates and so on. Now we're attaching the telescopic arm to the door. and closing it. Now we'll have to push a little on the door to fully extend the telescopic arm. Now the lift mechanism has to be adjusted for the proper closing so that when we stop, we want the door to stop, and so on. So here's where you make that adjustment with a Torx drive or a star drive, whatever you call it, and you do it with an electric drill because a screwdriver, it would just be way too slow. So use your drill bit and do that. Make that adjustment on both sides for the proper tension on your lift mechanism. Now we got to look at the gap between the door, the upper door, and the cabinet, and we adjust that on the hinge that's attached to the upper part of the cabinet. We can adjust our gap. And then if we want to move the door from the left to the right, inside the square hole. If we're going to move the door up and down, then the other adjustment screw. Now there's an adjustment for the reveal between the upper and the lower doors, and that's made on the hinge that attaches those two. And we can adjust the lower door from the left to the right. And there is also a gap behind the lower door that can be adjusted for. Now we secure the telescopic arm, and we can adjust the soft close feature. They call it a Blumotion. That's a very simple thing to do. You'll see these little orange dials on the lift mechanism. See that little dial there? We just adjust that, and it'll adjust how fast this door is going to close right at the end. You don't want it to go too slow, and yet you don't want it to slam. Now the cover caps, that's pretty easy. Just clip them on. Not hard to get those aligned and get those onto the lift mechanisms. You don't want your door, when you're pushing it up and out of the way, to hit the ceiling or anything else. And so there's an adjustment feature for that. You'll see it right there on the lift mechanism, right under the telescopic arm. And that'll prevent the door from hitting on the top. Now, the removal process. Now, I don't know why you remove them after you build a cabinet. Perhaps you build this in your shop and you're going to take it to a customer, or maybe you built it for, you got to get it from, you got to put it in a truck and haul it. And then you don't want it bouncing around and wrecking it. So taking it apart is probably a good idea at that point. So you can take the telescopic arms away from the door, separate the doors from each other, take the door off that's attached to the cabinet, and all of those can be packed and shipped in that way. Remove the hinge arm from the cabinet. They're clip-top hinges, so they're easy to remove. This whole thing is really easy. I think you'll love this system. Now let's take a look at the specifications I told you about. Where do you drill the holes in the cabinet? We're going to look at that right now. So we see some drawings and some tables in there on this clip. Now at the bottom on the left, that is the locations for the lever set mounting plates. And if you look on the drawing, you'll see those little red dots. That's the top screw in the mounting plate for the telescopic arm. And so that Z is the location. So if you're doing a frameless cabinet, let's say, and you look at the table, and your cabinet height is 18 7/8 to 20 1/2, then your location for the top screw hole is 170 millimeters or 6 11/16 inches. That's where the top screw hole goes for the telescopic arm mounting plate. Now, what about left to right on the mounting plate? Well, it's 12.5 millimeters plus whatever your overlay is. That's the vertical location of the holes. And then you've got your mounting plate for your telescopic arm. Now let's talk about the hinges. They're in the drawings on the right. We have a drawing for a face frame application and a drawing for a frameless application. And then down below in the table where it's gray, that tells you how much of an overlay. So let's say you take the shaded part that's a dark gray and you want to have an overlay of 16 millimeters or 5/8 of an inch. Then your boring distance, which is identified as the letter B, would be 5. From the edge of the hinge cup hole to the edge of the door is 5 millimeters, and you'll get a 5/8 inch overlay. Face frame or frameless, either one. So now we're going to go to the next picture to the right, and that shows the hinge and mounting plate between the two doors, between the upper and the lower door. The mounting plate is designed so that all you have to do is slip it on there until you reach the tabs and then screw it on. You don't have to measure for that to get the right setback on your mounting plate. And then if you want a small reveal, then your boring distance is larger, like say a 5 or a 6. That'll give you the smallest reveal. So these are the drawings that you use for putting your hardware on your door. Look it over. It's almost self-explanatory. I know I rambled on there talking about it, but if you look closely at the drawings, you'll be able to figure that out. This is really a nice application for a lift-up mechanism in your house. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video on the HF top Aventos lift-up mechanism. Up and out of the way. Nice system. Much easier to install than it looks like it is. So if you liked it, give us a thumbs up, share it with your friends, and subscribe. And thanks for watching the video.